Hey there, everyone. It's Cuddle. It's Cuddlesnot. It's me. I'm back. Man, that feels weird to say. Feels good, but it feels weird. And I'm sure we will have plenty to talk about. If you're a Cuddle veteran, stick around for a little bit. But if you're just here for the game, totally fine. We'll go over the main settings and the goal of this playthrough, and then you can just skip ahead. If you aren't familiar with me, again, my name is Cuddle. I made the 100% walkthroughs for both Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2. If you search 100% on YouTube, my guides will most likely come up. And now I'm here to bring that expertise to Darksiders 3. We're going to be doing an Apocalyptic walkthrough. While there is a higher difficulty Reckoning, it's not needed for an achievement. The main goal of this is just to get all the achievements by the end. So Apocalyptic, done on Classic, because Classic's better. And we'll talk about that. I mean, my opinion, Classic's better. But we'll talk about that as well as we go along. But I'm going to play on Classic, Apocalyptic, already said that, and then not Nightmare mode because I don't hate myself. If you did it, great. I'm never going to do that. So you can start from the beginning and you'll get everything along the way with me. Many people, as I found out Darksiders 2, obviously, they jump in where they get stuck. And I don't want anyone to be jumping into the guy because they're stuck in a particular part and they can't progress because they don't have the same unlocks that I have. So because there is multiple paths, some marketing BS, but we're going to be following the paths that 80% of people are going to be following if you just kind of naturally progress through the game. And but we're going to take some precautions to allow people to jump in if they didn't progress exactly the same. We're not doing any DLC during this main part of the game. We're going to save that for the end because you can definitely still buy and play through this game without the DLCs. There's also some things you can cheese. We're not going to be doing that because I don't want anyone to get stuck because they can't accomplish the cheesy strat to skip a part. But that kind of defeats the purpose anyway because we're not speedrunning this. We're trying to collect everything. So this guide is designed to be as accessible as possible. So if you're playing on Armageddon, on New Game Plus, any 2, 3, 4, 9, whatever, this will work for you. You'll get everything as you go through. I'll put little markers like this, bong, on the screen every time there is a New Game Plus enemy that either drops what they're called Oblivion Shards or Wisdom Shards. I'll put that on the screen, and that way this guide is accessible to everyone, no matter what version of the game you're playing through. Down the line, I might do a combat-focused episode. I probably will, because there's multiple builds, especially with the enhancements and stuff like that, even more so than just leveling up. So we'll probably go over some builds and stuff at some point. We'll kind of talk about it as we progress, but we'll do a deep dive later, especially if you're going to New Game Plus, you kind of have everything maxed out, just looking at different builds. And then, so as you may or may not already know, this game is not very well documented. There's a couple good resources out there, but there really isn't a perfect one, and that's my goal here, so make the perfect one. If you see something that I missed, and it's something I promise I'm going to be backtracking, so it's not just like, I will be coming back and covering everything, but if there's something that I missed, feel free to let me know and shout it out, because at the end, I'm going to kind of do this final wrap-up, cleanup. If anything you spot along the way that I missed, we'll get it all then, and then we'll have the ultimate, most complete, 100% version of this game, so this is a group effort, community effort, and as such, I want to thank two specific sources that I used as to kind of double check my work. The Neoseeker Guide by Socus, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'll have the link in the description down below. If you're looking for a text guide, this one is excellent, by far the best one that I found. And then the Collectible Guide by SilvZero on GameFAQs. This man has done a lot of work for this game. And I really appreciate it because it saved me a heck of a lot of time how well he documented a lot of his experiments as he went through and played through, especially New Game Pluses. So big shout outs to him. So that kind of covers all that stuff. We'll start the game in a minute. But if you're the Cuddle veteran, man, do I owe you guys a whole lot of thank you. Just thank you for all of your support, all of your well wishes, all of the just little comments, the kind words about, how you enjoy watching and waiting for me to play so you can play Darksiders 3 alongside me. Like, that all means so much to me and is one of the big reasons that I'm here right now. So just thank you so much. And wow, it's a little overwhelming sitting here right now recording this, doing this, but we're here, we're back, and once again saying thank you so much to all of the Cuddle veterans made for so long. And if you're new here, welcome, and let's not delay this any longer. Let's get started. So, like I said, we went through all the settings, but we're going to start a new game. And we'll go over options after we actually, load in. But for now, we're just going to do new game, start new game. Apocalyptic. Again, the only one there's an achievement for. Reckoning is fun and doable and a challenge, but there's no special achievement for completing on Reckoning. So I'm doing Apocalyptic for my sanity during recording of this. And then Classic. Definitely Classic. And Nightmare is just the permadeath hardcore mode. If you say yes, then if you die, it's immediately over. Just not my thing. I don't think the game is quite polished enough for that. And that's kind of also why I like Classic over Default. But yeah, we can talk about that as we continue. Now, let's get started.
Why did the Creator construct a universe teeming with imperfection, misery, sin? Among the scholars of both heaven and hell, this query is known as the riddle of sorrows. If sin is itself a part of the grand design, is not sin then, by definition, divine? A question for the sages. Though one particularly restless bunch kept a robust relationship to the topic. The Nephilim. Spawn of angels and demons. Warriors, relentless, unstoppable, blood mad. Until they were betrayed by 4 of their own. War, death, fury, and strife. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Inconceivable power was bestowed upon the traitors by those sworn to maintain symmetry twixt order and chaos. The Charred Council. Bear witness as the Council holds court to end the Nephilim War in the name of balance. This is the new pact. War, bringer of worldwide fire. You are the juggernaut of all pain. Death, dark soul of eternity. You are the deepest decay. You are anti-life. Strife. Endless spirit of timeless unrest. You are all that is unsettled in the hearts of that which lives and breathes. And finally, fury. Terrible engine of rage. You are the machine that...
Are we to waste our time on ceremony, or are we to fight?
Step forward and recognize, horseman. You are the most impatient of your kin. The least predictable, dancing on the edge of your own reality. Your brothers understand the undertaking set before them. But do you?
Still talking! Shall I have Death fetch us some tea, or can we get on with it?
Fury, your role in this story is yet to be written. I wonder, will you light the flame of creation anew? Or stomp out the embers for good?
Dreams more thrilling than reality. Had I known the new pact would be so exciting, I would have let walls separate my head from my neck then and there. Is it possible to die of boredom? Rampage. Bored as I am, perhaps you're just lazy. If I didn't love you so much, I'd kill you just for something to do. The call? Finally. Please, please, please tell me you're a planet of demons that needs slaying. Or 2. War. What pathetic fate have you brought upon yourself, brother?
Watch your tongue.
I may be least favored of all the horsemen, but my tongue never found me chained to a rock like some dog.
Fury, approach us.
I take it there is a mess that needs tending to.
Though you jest, you speak true. War has broken his vows to this council and shattered the seventh seal.
The apocalypse. Why would he...
We know not. Yet. As we speak, Earth falls beneath the spears of heaven and the hammers of hell.
So the horsemen are to ride.
No. While the Charred Council seeks to understand how and why the traitor war has committed this abominable act, there is a matter that requires delicate attention.
You should have called Strife. He's the delicate one.
The 7 deadly sins have been released, by whom we cannot say, but the 7 roam the earth, free of our prison. The balance between order and chaos is already in jeopardy. The 7 cannot be left unchecked. War is in chains. Death is missing. Strife attends to other matters. The last time you faced the sins, it required all 4 of you.
I can handle those fools in my sleep. But when this task is complete, I demand that you grant me my rightful place leading the horsemen.
If you would trade obedience for a title, so be it. But never make a demand upon us, horsemen. You depart immediately.
Greetings, Miss Fury. I must admit, this is a fortuitous fate.
A watcher? You doubt my allegiance?
Please, be not cross. I am such an admirer. Scratch that. I'm a fan. You are the horseman. The only one that matters.
Enough! I will allow you to accompany me. Just stay out of my way.
I will be as unto a shadow. Steadfast. Silent.
More silence!
Go! Seek out the place called Haven. Your quest for the 7 deadly begins there.
Fury, wait. Whatever has passed between us, search your heart. You cannot believe I am guilty of these crimes. Something is wrong with the universe. Be vigilant, Fury. Forces conspire against us. Heed my words!
Alrighty. We are back on Earth. Now as Fury. So before we get too far, we're going to do some options. I'm turning off vibration for the sake of recording, but I think that works pretty well. Definitely keep it. I like toggle. It just works so much better for me. I do not like the hold. It just isn't preferable for me. Definitely keep all that. Quick weapon swap is something that comes up when you get the DLC weapons. So we're a little bit ways from that, but we'll talk about it when it comes up. Classic versus default, you can switch it at any time. Does not affect anything other than your gameplay, so no effects on achievements. As this says here, changing the difficulty may invalidate some trophies, which is very true, so we're not going to touch this. I would not change this at all. Force respawn. You can use this to kind of refill your potions, but that's kind of cheese, and you might need it in case you ever get stuck somewhere, which is definitely possible. It's a lot of talking. Let's play the game. So let's talk about some combos now that they're here. The Soul Lurchers, these are your currency. That we'll give to our old friend here pretty soon. But before we get too deep, there's 2 major combos that you need to master in order to not get completely wrecked. And that is by holding the attack button. That is your best crowd control, especially when you're kind of surrounded by those zombies like that. And then the delay attack, that one. So if you attack, delay, and then press it again, you do that. And you can see here, if you keep pressing it, stun locks them, and we got a big single enemy. It can really help in those situations. And then, of course, the dodge. So become a master of timing, and you will master Darksiders combat before you know it.
Fury, we're close to one of the 7. I just know it. I hope it's not bad.
Alrighty. And I have to get used to this again. So excuse me if I'm a little bit rusty. I put a lot of work into this. I'm excited to share it with all of you. And used to talking and playing at the same time too. I mean, I've changed. It's been a long time, guys. I mean, I've changed. I'm sure you've changed. So not everything's going to be exactly the same, but, you know, it's going to be good. And we picked up that healing shard back over there by the campfire. And then right here in this dumpster, we're going to get this wrath shard. And this is our first set of consumables. And, you know, things are good. Things are different. Things are good. And I hope you enjoy. So just, yeah. Anyway, all right, here we go. So one piece of advice I already have for you, and it can be incredibly frustrating. You do not need to hold the swing button in order to accomplish this. You can just press it once, and you're good to go. And then you can press jump again to jump. So something that's very helpful, especially coming up here in this next room. Let us go to the very first boss.
Haven. A haven for what? Vermin?
Humans, mistress.
Adorable. Build a house of sticks during the end of the world. Where exactly do we go from here, Watcher?
I know not but what the Council commands, mistress. The quest for the 7 begins here.
Envy.
Mine! Humans, haven, everything here! Mine! Move on, horsemen, or ye be mine too!
I'm on a mission.
Protecting humans? Humans think creation favors them. They are apes, crawling through dirt.
Quite the grudge you're carrying.
What they have, I will take. When they have nothing left, they will be my playthings until they break. You cannot stop me!
Oh, I don't want to. Humanity is tragically overrated. I am not here for them. I'm all yours.
No!
Alright, so Envy has a couple of main attacks. That one that you can dodge out of and get a arcane counter if you like. Or just those swings that you can also get a counter for. You can kind of see how the weapon highlights and you can kind of dodge out of it. And it works out pretty well. Now we have a little jumping puzzle where, keep in mind that tip that I just gave you. Remember, just press the swing button. Don't hold it, so you can kind of jump after the swing is over onto the next platform. Alright, now, if you were like me, you could have come here and then you'll swing and fall and not actually knock him down. And this is annoying, and then he hurts you. Anyway, so don't worry about this. You want to kind of double jump. So yeah, that was totally on purpose, guys. Yeah. So totally meant to do that. Demonstration purposes. Yeah, but you could also swing and miss and then not knock NV down, which is kind of sucks as well. So you just kind of a double jump, get close, hold the whip move, do the riptide, and then I'm going to jump over these slam waves and get to dodging. And not dodging, as it were. So these are our potions. Nephilim's Respite. Something that we'll be talking more about as we go. There, we got a clean dodge on that. Dodge. You can actually get some damage in while she's teleporting away. Dodge, boom. So we'll wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We will mess this one up as well. And you'll see what I mean. This happens to me more often than I'd like to admit, and I've played this opening sequence quite a few times now. So you're right here, and you're like, oh. And then, you know, you do your swing, and it just falls and stays up there. It's really annoying. But just Nephilim Respite up if you're lower on health, so that when he does the big wave, you don't die, because you can't die from that. And there we go. And now we're going to jump over. Or that works too, I guess. But if you miss it, don't worry. It's very, very easy to miss it. And you often will have to get hit or restart even because it does so much damage. But after all that, that is our first boss, Envy.
Pretty. Come and get it.
Ah, that's mine!
Mistress, not to be a bother, but weren't you supposed to catch Envy?
I did. Watch. This talisman.
It's a vessel. Envy used it to hold energies from the rest of the Seven.
It will make a fitting prison for the others once their physical forms have been broken.
If I may, there is a sort of hum emanating from the talisman. That glow.
Will indicate when one of the Seven is nearby. I know.
So wise. You are all that the Council promised, Mistress.
I'm beginning to enjoy the sound of your voice, Watcher.
Talisman of Sin, aka the story thing. There's that skull up there that directs you to the closest sin, but without a map, it's not the most helpful thing. What is this? Skyrim? And then here we go with the Lurcher Crystals. So these may seem familiar if you're from the Souls games, but they're essentially currency that's stuck in your inventory that even if you die, it won't go away. And something that you definitely want to save until you're right and ready to spend them. We will talk about, how to spend and goals, and we got a small healing shard here. There are some things that we want to watch out for because you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot, but not really. It's kind of hard to do wrong unless you're trying to optimize and only play through once to get all the achievements. But don't worry about that. We'll talk about it as it comes up.
I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't point out that even with the talisman, locating the other deadly sins will prove a challenge.
Finding envy was easy enough.
That was a gift. One I would not count on receiving twice. Envy was also, by far, the weakest of the deadly sins.
Anything else to add?
Only what I assume you already know. The armies of both heaven and hell have cordoned off the world of man into various areas of influence. Look around us. The upheaval we have seen is the very personification of the struggle between order and chaos. You have set for yourself an unenviable task, given these environs.
That's what makes it fun. The other sins are hiding across this shattered world. They strike at angels and demons alike in their own selfish bids for power. Their hubris will lead me right to them.
Perhaps, but you will need assistance.
Whatever I need, I will take, Watcher.
Alright, that perfectly timed, unskippable. Maybe there's a way to skip it. Speedrunners. So now we're going to jump over here and get to our first major area. And we can never go back there. Don't worry. Nothing's missable back there except for those two little consumables, and if you missed them, no big deal. Definitely does not affect anything at all. So do not worry about it. And this little... I don't know what you want to call it. This will be a resurrect if you die.
I knew that war would one day unleash all this. But seeing it... his gifts are impressive.
May I remind you, mistress, that you have no peer among your horsemen brethren.
And that symbol might look familiar. So, actually, I guess that symbol isn't the familiar thing. This might look familiar from other games, and don't worry, we will see our old friend very soon. But before we get too far, let's capture some stuff. We got our small healing shard right here in that garbage can. Crowd control to Major Tom. That's how it goes, right? Crowd control to Major Tom. And we'll collect our little additional crystal clump thing here. And there's another thing back here. Do our circle whippies. Keep changing directions so that we don't get overwhelmed and no one jumps at us. And click our small lurcher clump over here. Like, it's even difficult to dodge these guys because their timing window is so weird, but you can kill them so easily, it does not really necessary. The key is you just don't want to get overwhelmed by him, which is where our crowd control comes in very, very handy. You see there we got our green lurcher. So that got our Nephilim Respite up from 0 to 1 that we're going to use now. So we don't sit around with half health. That just annoys the crap out of me. And that's a Chaos Lurcher, that orange one. But we have full Chaos Meter. We'll talk about that a little bit though. And, but Health Lurchers only spawn, or can only be collected if you have a space for it. So if you have maximum potions and a Health Lurcher spawns, you will not receive it. So, you know, they're pretty good, but yes, you play through the game, you kind of figure out the best times to use it or not. And obviously there's other ways you can replenish it as well, which we will talk about. So we picked up that little thing down there. You see one that's up there and over there. We will be coming back for those. Do not worry, my friends. And now we're going to click this glowy thing right here. Healing shard. So as you can see at the bottom left, these are where your consumables are. If you ever miss it, like here, we're on Rastar and I press down on that pad, Nephilim Respite comes right up. So that's something that's very helpful, especially if you're using them in combat. And we will be back here as well to that area when we have a new item. And now we're just going up these stairs. Quick work of that guy. Get another potion. Thank you very much. Crowd control. Uh-oh. Not crowd control-y enough. Get our clump right here. And don't get ambushed by these guys. These guys, very easy to get ambushed in this game, so just got to be careful. And then we're going to jump across our pipes here. Nothing down there in that ditch. Looks like there should be, but there ain't. And welcome to this game's favorite mechanic, crawling through holes to cover loading, probably, and unable to do or interact with anything. So, hope you like crawling through some holes, because a lot are coming. And a little too late on that attack. That's okay. I'll let you jump me. And we got that rangy boy up there. So, especially if you're new, let that guy walk down to the left, and then this person up here. Dodge those boomerangs. That's what I feel like they are to me. And do some forward dodges, and you're good to go. Boom, arcane damage. So we actually haven't talked about this yet. So there is two types of damage. Physical damage and arcane damage. And it kind of gives you the breakdown right here. Physical damages is dealt with all your basic attacks, and arcane damage is done with evades, charging attacks, wrath attacks, and havoc form attacks, which is like your big scary form. And wrath we'll talk about in a minute. Up here we have a little lurcher clump. But it's important to remember that there's also kind of critical hits. So anytime you kind of see the numbers jump into a pink color or a more saturated color than just when you swing like this, you are doing arcane damage, not physical damage. So as we get into builds, we'll talk more about that. But something to keep in mind and think about your playstyle. And get a wrath shard right here in the corner. And you saw that purple stuff up there. Don't worry. We'll be coming back for that as well. Alright, so here we go. It's pretty much kind of one of our first big skill checks. You might die here many, many times like I did the first time we come along. But the guy on the left just stays asleep, so let's deal with these guys first. If you really want to be careful, you can kind of lure everyone up here, kind of like that. Take them on one by one. You can get this guy's attention without getting... Nope, we got them both. Alright. So see if we can take care of him first. Kind of watch our throwy guy there, but he just threw into the car, so not very helpful. And I really like dodge countering forward into these guys. Seems to be the way to close the gap because they jump away pretty quickly. Alright, so we got that. So now, here's really what I'm going to call the first mini-boss. Alright, it's guarding something pretty powerful, and you can definitely die here. So we're going to show that because we want to talk a little bit about the... I keep saying we. Who's we? Me. I'm talking about this. I'm going to talk about the death mechanics a little bit. And this guy is kind of gets difficult getting used to. His attacks are not... Attack windows are very difficult to learn. So if you die, it's really okay. And, you know, as you come back, you'll grind up some more souls, look them all up, and it's all good to go. So... Oh man, we died. Alright, so we're back. Boom, magic. But as you can see, all of our bad guys here have respawned. However, the collectibles have not. As you'll see, this trash can is still empty. So, going through this hole again, kind of getting some more currency to help level up here in a little bit. It's not a bad thing. Kind of get used to the mechanics, practice your combos a little bit. Can be a little frustrating, but that's kind of the nature of these games, especially the Dark Souls inspiration here. Alright, so, however, you do want to be careful. You can just kind of run through, but it's really easy to get overwhelmed. As you can see here, a bunch of guys are now following us. But something you might have also noticed that I probably should have mentioned already is that when we died, all of our souls were gone. That's because they end up in the thing. But as you can see, the ones in our inventory here did not disappear. So we kept all that, which is why you kind of only break them when you're ready to spend them. So you can spend them even right after you die. Not to go back and recollect them, as you will see here in a second. Ooh, mushrooms. 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 Mushrooms glow. Do they make you feel even better if you eat them? I don't know. I don't know. Because don't do drugs, kids. Dodge you. Take you out. Let you jump down because dealing with you while you're up there is really annoying. Dodge. Dodge. Of course, the little guy's the one that hits me. Dodge out of the way, get out of the group situation, and use some crowd control. Alright. Healed up because that's just what I'm going to do. Now again, you could, as you see there, we got a glowy thing. That's where the souls that we had before we died are now sitting. And also, if you kill stuff, stuff will go into that, as you'll see here. So let's deal with these guys without waking him up, because we don't want to get quadruple ambushed during that difficult, quote-unquote, mini-boss fight. And take care of you. Okay. So let's go back. We got some of the souls, but some of them actually went into here, but we're going to do this. I pressed the wrong button. That's okay. So we broke it. We got our stuff back. Now we're just going to beat him and not die. Because if we die here, that's no hiding it. That's definitely going to be an accident. All right. Okay. Let me concentrate here for a second. We'll do a Wrath attack at the end. So you can do a Wrath attack, which is the two buttons. The PlayStation is the two front shoulder buttons. PlayStation 2. PlayStation 4 is the two front shoulder buttons. And I don't like using it a whole lot, except for when I'm like surrounded, like the one time I could have used it. But I want to save it for this boss. And definitely use it. I shouldn't say I don't use it all the time, because I do use it all the time. But I want to save it for when I use it for like here, because we're about to make the big dramatic kill. And this is Havoc form. This is your big scary demon form. We'll go over that. But it really kind of throws off your rhythm, especially if you're kind of in this dodge attack rhythm. So it can kind of almost be detrimental because you do it. You're like, okay, great, it's safe for a second. Then you got to reorient to the rhythm, and it just doesn't work so well. So that's how I feel about it anyway. So I only use it in situations where I really want to use it. And here we go with the Fortifier enhancement. This is our first enhancement out of 12 in the base game. Out of 12 in the base game. And I think it's for, if you're not playing, the long term it might not be the best one, but for a very long time, it's good. I mean, you get 5% additional damage and additional 5% health, and as you upgrade it, that gets even better. So it's nothing to sneeze at. Just utility. And since we're talking about it, and we got that medium lurcher clump now, so there's actually two effects on every enhancement. There's an active, which only applies when you're fighting with that weapon, and that's physical and arcane damage with this weapon. And then a passive, which is 5% health. Now, this doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but that's always active, no matter what. If you have it slotted in a weapon, it is affecting your gameplay. So it's a big part of the later builds, and there's always a benefit to having something socketed, even if it's a weapon you don't ever end up using, which again doesn't mean a whole lot now, but it will later. So that's something good to keep in mind.
Perhaps there are human survivors.
Not my concern.
If you're playing Armageddon mode, you just got your Sliver Oblivion ore. So that's a really exciting for you. And you can start upgrading some armor very, very soon.
That tree. It's impressive. But is it just me, or is it out of place here?
It is a maker tree. Most likely we will find refuge there.
All right. So before we head off to the Mako tree, let's get our stuff here and not get ambushed. Because if you're going to get ambushed, you're going to have a bad time. We're going to get the strength shard, and over here in this breakable, we get a medium lurcher clump. And we got a root here. Before we even do that, we're going to come right here. And once again, probably get ambushed. This guy's dropped down, yep. Be really careful here. It's really easy to get overwhelmed here. That has happened to me many times than I like to admit. You can pretty much assume that if you die anywhere, I've died there. I've just played through the game many, many times now. So, just restart and it'll be fine. Alright, large lurcher clump. That is good to have. Alright. And something else you might have noticed that I just waltz right past. Or not, because I'm in completely the wrong spot. See, I told you I was rusty. We'll go up this tree here, you'll see what I mean in a second instead. Zombie drop down from the ceiling, you know, totally normal. Hashtag Darksiders 3 things. Some crowd control from Major Toms. And we're going to grab the clump that's right here in this computer desk. Aha, this is what I was looking for. That for some reason I thought was back there. We will come back for this. You don't have to worry, this is a minor thing if you never come back and miss it. It's not the end of the world, but we don't have what we need right now to actually get it. So we will come back during that big old cleanup I mentioned before. All right. And now, a little tease right there. We're about to meet a very, very old friend.
Aren't we making a mighty ruckus?
Says the demon who announces his ambush.
It was not my intention to do battle, horseman. Well, such a passionate little thing, aren't we?
Do not test my patience.
Very well. War is too hazardous an occupation for myself, horseman. I am here in the name of blind capitalism. I am Vulgrim, merchant of the damned, a trader who deals in souls for profit. Even in the face of the apocalypse, one must endeavor to earn a living.
And whose souls do you trade in?
Angel, demon, or even human. All souls have value to me. I've seen the trail of bodies you've left in your wake.
What would I require from you?
That depends. What are your needs?
Information. The 7 deadly sins.
Whispers on the wind say that the fabled horsemen are but pawns in a larger game. Victims of a grand setup.
What do you know?
I know that the first one's free. Call for me if you have souls to trade, and perhaps you will consider my wares valuable.
Vulgrim's plinth. So these are our fast travel positions. These are our campfires, torches, whatever you want to call them. These are it. And also our trading man.
Good eating.
So this is how you level up. We talk about his stuff as well. So you can see here he has lots of consumables. Things that I would not recommend buying yet, but maybe later as you get familiar with things that are helpful for you and things that, you know, might help you get through a tough fight, especially after you die. And he does sell ingredients, but nothing quite yet. This is the Echo Mark. This is something they added a little bit later, but is very helpful. It allows you to completely respec your levels into any attributes that you like, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we're not going to worry about that yet, but that can help later if you want to try different builds, or you feel like you put something or too much into something, what have you. So that's always helpful. And these are always helpful as well. The Unfocused Leviathan is probably the most useful at the beginning. It helps you get more souls. But we obviously don't have enough for that yet, so we're going to wait on that for a little bit. And Unfocused Rage is another great enhancement. These are both enhancements, so I should have said that. And this is helpful to help you keep replenishing Wrath. But we only have one weapon right now to actually attach anything to, so there's no point in buying this yet. This is arguably the most useful thing here right now, which makes your Nephilim's Respite, your potion, heal more, which is not bad. It is not bad. That is very good. So you'll want to buy that probably sooner than later, but at this very moment, I'd rather put stuff into levels, so we're going to do that. And you can actually sell things that are consumables. Usually you don't get a whole lot, but if there's stuff that you end up not using, or you're just so close to another level and you want to sell something, go right ahead. You can also sell ingredients, but until much, much, much later, I would never do this. Never do this. It is always more valuable to keep your ingredients to upgrade things. And especially if you're going for 100%, you can't ever really sell them because then you won't have enough unless you're planning to do a bunch of New Game Pluses. You know, nothing's set in stone, nothing's permanent because you can New Game Plus and get more stuff. But if you were trying to do this as, you know, single playthrough as straightforward as possible, you never want to do this. Plus, it's never really worth the souls. I'd rather get the upgrade for the weapons than the souls. So,
As you wish.
Serpent Holes are the quick travel. You can see here the West End. But it's also important to know that quick traveling does not reset enemies, only dying does that. And not even every enemy. There's some particular enemies that won't. Like that, for example, if you're in Armageddon Plus, that red-eyed Oblivion Shard Dropper, Sliver of Oblivion Ore Dropper will not replenish. And we'll see some of those in this main game too here pretty soon.
As you wish.
And we talked about that. All right. So now we're just gonna get some levels.
This will be fun for both of us.
So let's get our first level. Level 2, 1 attribute point. You see here went from 800 to 900. Now it's a little bit more expensive to level up, and obviously this keeps on going and going and going.
As you wish.
So we got 2 levels, and we can put those levels into a few different things. So I'll just say quickly, we want to keep it around 40, and we'll get into reasons for that later, but as a priority throughout as you're going to upgrade and spend souls on upgrading your weapons and your enhancements instead of your levels, for the most part. But the first 10 on each, so, you know, first 30 level ups are things that, you know, just go for it. It could be totally fine, and you can always redo it with that echo mark. So nothing set in stone. We talked about this a little bit, but health is health, and we saw the thing upgrade how much you can heal. So we're going to wait on that for now because we don't even have that item. We can only heal 150. Strength is your basic weapon attacks, and Arcane is your dodges. And when you're in the crazy form, that's your Havoc form. When you do Wrath attacks, all affected by Arcane. You guys will see that physical only goes up by 5%, and Arcane goes up by 7%. Also, diminishing returns as you go, but that's a whole nother conversation we'll get to later. So in general, just kind of, what's your playstyle, right? Do you find yourself not doing a lot of dodging because you're not really good with the timing? Then maybe going more into strength. But if you find yourself doing more dodging and timing and Wrath attacks and Havoc all the time, I personally, you know, go Arcane. I think you get much stronger builds with Arcane, but you can put a little bit more into strength if you feel like that's where you need to get most of your damage, just because that's just how you play the game. You can't do anything wrong because you can just reset it with the echo mark as many times as you like. And that doesn't get more expensive even, just always stays 1,000. So for now, we're going to put 1 into each and get our next trophy. First of many, aka levels. First of many levels. And as you saw, we had like 500 souls left. We need about 1,000 or more for another level. So, you know, there's an argument to be made of not doing this yet to get ultimate, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're not here to be as ultimate efficient as possible. If you're here for the long term, everything's technically infinite. You just need to play through the games on New Game Pluses. So it's just like, what's best for right now? Right now, I want another. Right now, I want another level. So we're going to break these, but you know, we shatter these and they turn to souls in our thing. But wait a minute, are those skulls? That looks like it's covered in skulls. It's like something's unlocking inside of me. Like, with the skull, no, that's not right. Skull, no, I know. Skull, crush, face.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine. fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I ruined my moment there, Vulgrim. But yeah, so we got 1,000, and that's it. There's no chest in this game. No skull punch faces. No skull touch faces. Nothing. So, I guess I'm going to have to settle for this. The skulls in my inventory. That I press a button, and I crush them. Crush them into more souls. Yeah, not as satisfying, that's for... that's for dang sure. But... can't win them all. Alright, well I pout. Let me get another level. Oh, just enough for 2 more levels. Perfect. So we're going to put one of these into health, just to keep it even, and we'll put another one into arcane. Alright. Yes, Vulgrim, farewell for now. And farewell to you as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I'm as disappointed as many of you that there isn't a chest like a skull touch face or skull touch punch skull. So I hope we're okay with what we have instead, but you know, it is what it is. I will be doing plenty of skull crush facing as we proceed. And don't you worry, folks, I didn't forget there is a spreadsheet for Darksiders 3 in the description below. It is public alongside all of my other spreadsheets for my other guides. It's just kind of a breakdown of what is gathered in each episode. So if you're looking for something specific or want to make sure that while you were following along, you didn't like miss 1 or 2 things when you looked away or what have you. So that is available to everyone in the description. You don't need to subscribe anymore. That was folly of youth. Not that I ever thought I would get more than 100 people watching, but I never would ever be able to keep up with the number of people that are asking for it. So that is all public. It's down in the description below, as well as on the description of my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this, if you're still here, I, again, really, really appreciate it. Liking and subscribing really helps me out. It means a lot to me. It's the YouTuber thing, right? I got to ask for it. So thank you so much for watching. Old, new, thank you. I really appreciate all the support, all the kind words, and that you're here. And I'll see you again next time.